Hello, everyone. My name is Heather Hurt with the NRW, where nerds rule the world, and I am here with Tara Roberts, a National Geographic explorer and storyteller. Oh, love that title. How are you today?
I'm doing great.
We're
I love that I'm hanging out with the nerds. I feel
yeah,
like I'm a nerd,
yeah.
so
It's the best. It's the best place to be in your life, you know? Tell me, how'd you get that title? That's just a really, really cool title.
yeah, and actually my official title is Explorer in Residence. So that's extra special. But I received grants from National Geographic, and anyone who receives a grant becomes an explorer. So
Take that and run. That sounds so cool. Um, you were part of the Clotilda, the Return Home special. What was it like going on this journey, and what was the most surprising thing you learned while you were over in Africa or while you were with these families?
it was an incredible experience. Yeah, so the journey was to return, sort of symbolically return Cudjoe Lewis and Gumpa Lee, who were two of the Africans who were brought over on what was considered the last known slave ship to cross the Atlantic. Um, and to be with the families as they did this, sort of deep, thoughtful, major journey um, was incredible. Like, I don't know that I have words for it. It was overwhelming. It was beautiful. It was tiring. It was sad, but it was also majestic. It was inspirational. Like it was all the things.
That's beautiful. And you definitely felt it looked like you definitely learned a lot about yourself as well through this process. Um, First and foremost, the story is about family. Why did y'all decide to come at it from that angle instead of just telling the story of the Clotilda? Why did y'all decide to come at it from the story of the ancestors?
Yeah, that's a great question. We've actually told the story of the Clotilda before. So this is like a part three of the telling of this enormous and complicated and beautiful story. Um, I think the story is so rich in so many ways. It's a way to have a firsthand account of what actually happened from the voices of people who were there. So these are stories that have been passed down, and they're coming from the actual ancestors whose descendants have kept those stories, and preserved those stories. So it feels really beautiful, I think, and important to uplift um, those ancestral voices. We've told the story before of what's happening in the community. We've told the story about the science of the ship, but we hadn't given time to those ancestral voices. So it feels like it was a very unique way to tell the story and a really important way.
Absolutely, absolutely. Once again, I think I've used this word like three times. It's beautiful. It's a very beautiful, personal way to put it, and it was very pretty, beautiful to hear from that point of view. One thing that really caught me was there's a lot of archival imagery, and y'all did not shy away from the really hard points that these people experienced. Why was it so important for you to not, shy away from that?
Hmm. Well, it happened. Like it's important to see the wholeness of the journey. I think it's important not to stay centered inside of the trauma and the pain,
Mhm.
which is often, I think, where these stories go and what makes it hard sometimes to sit with them. Um, but it is important to acknowledge what happened. This is not a Disneyland story. Like people weren't going on rides. It wasn't vacation. People weren't coming here by choice. So it's important to tell the truth of that story. But what I think you also get in the documentary is it's the story beyond, I think, that pain and trauma as well. I love the way that you said that this is a story about family. It's a story about home. It's a story about connection. And that is something that all of us can connect to and relate to. So I love that this documentary is telling the fullness of the whole thing.
Yeah, and at the end, you really made y'all really. I apologize, I forgot who said it, but one of them's like, my cousin. You have my cousin's cheeks, my brother's nose. Like that was so sweet at the end. So that's where I got that from. It really felt like family, like especially at that moment.
Yeah.
I want to talk a little bit because you even though it's only at the forefront of the documentary, diving with a purpose. Um, can you tell us a little bit more about that? And was that part what was going to find when because I believe it was diving with a purpose found the original pieces of the boat. Is that correct? The Clotilda?
I wouldn't say they found it on their own, but they were a part of the recovery and the documentation of it. And Diving with a Purpose is it's a group of citizen scientists. So many of them are not necessarily archaeologists or scientists, but they are avid scuba divers who've been trained for many, many years. And they've taken on the task of helping to bring back into memory the submerged history of people of African descent. And specifically, that looks like the search for and documentation of slave shipwrecks around the world. So Diving with a Purpose is a part of larger groups that are also doing this work. The Smithsonian has a project called the Slave Wrecks Project that also does this work, and Diving with a Purpose is a part of the Slave Wrecks Project. They also partner with other groups that are doing work. So I believe that the Clotilda, there's a company called Search, the Slave Wrecks Project, Diving with a Purpose, the Alabama Historical Commission, like local folks were all a part of the finding of the wreck and are participating in the documentation of it.
It's interesting. I'm a diver, so I did a
You're a
dive first.
diver.
I was just like, oh, this is so cool. Okay. All right. I wanted to just tag in. Once again, it was a very small part, but was very excited. My last question for you today is, what did you learn throughout this journey about yourself?
Yeah, I've been on this journey now for 6 years. I started following Diving with a Purpose and telling stories about slave shipwrecks. And I'd say that when I started doing this work, there was just so much about this history that I did not know. I'd never been taught, never realized the depths of the storytelling that we'd lost. So it's been amazing to step into that history, to learn it. And it's also given me a way to connect to my own history and my own past. I would say that I was very inspired by the descendants. It's Cassandra, Garry, Altevese, and Delisha, who are the descendants of Cudjoe Lewis and Gumpa Lee. And the way they walk in the world is just so beautiful. There is a groundedness, a confidence, a sense of self that comes from knowing who they come from and where they come from. And that has inspired me to look into my own past. And I was one of those persons who wasn't that interested in the past. I'm not like, oh, checking out my ancestors on ancestry.com. That wasn't me before, but it's me now because I'm like, oh my God, this is so fascinating and exciting to really know like who you come from and to make them real, to make them not statistics or not just these images on pictures in photo albums, but real human beings who had lives. That's how now Cudjoe Lewis and Gumpa Lee live for me as fully realized human beings. But there's a way that I think, especially when you're talking about enslaved people, you think they're slaves, and that's the sum total of their lives and their experiences. But it's bigger than that and more than that. So all of this work has caused me to look into my own past and to start to see the humanity in my own lineage. And that's been so amazing and beautiful.
That is phenomenal. Thank you so much, Tara, for your time. National Geographic's Clotilda, The Return Home, a 1 hour special, arrives on Disney Plus on June 17th. Thank you.
Thank you.